Oh my God. I was so scared. The words left my mouth before I even knew I was awake. My throat hurt, my chest felt heavy, and the bright hospital light made my eyes sting. The beeping of the heart monitor was slow and steady, like it was watching me breathe. Then I saw her. Claire was sitting beside me, holding my hand. Her eyes were red from crying. "You're okay now," she said softly. "You're safe." I wanted to believe her. Her voice was calm, warm, the way it used to be when we were kids and she would chase away my nightmares. "My name is Elena Ward. I'm 35 years old, from Seattle. I worked as an accountant before life started falling apart. My parents died in a plane crash 5 years ago. Then, 2 years ago, I lost my little boy in a car accident. My husband left after that. Since then, I had been living quietly, one day at a time, trying not to drown in my own silence. Claire was the only family I had left. She was my cousin, but she had always been like an older sister. She stayed close when everyone else slowly stepped away. She brushed my hair back gently. "You fainted at home," she said. "The doctor said it was stress and exhaustion. I found you on the kitchen floor, Elena. You scared me so much." "I'm sorry," I whispered, feeling tears fill my eyes. "I didn't mean to worry you." "Shh," she said, squeezing my hand. "Don't apologize. You've been through enough." Her words broke something inside me. For the first time in months, I felt safe. She smiled. "You're going to stay with me for a while, okay? I already talked to your doctor. My apartment's quiet, and you need someone to look after you." I nodded. I didn't want to be alone anymore. The nurse came in, cheerful, checking my vitals. "Your cousin hasn't left your side," she said kindly. "You're lucky to have her." I looked at Claire and tried to smile through my tired eyes. "I know," I said. "She's my angel." Claire laughed softly. "Don't make me cry again," she said. "You just rest. I'll handle everything." She helped me sit up a little, fed me a few sips of water, and even tucked the blanket under my chin like a mother would. "See, you'll be up in no time," she said. The way she moved, gentle, patient, careful, made my heart ache. No one had touched me with kindness in a long time. She stayed the whole night, sitting by my bed while I drifted in and out of sleep. Every time I opened my eyes, she was still there, scrolling quietly through her phone or humming a soft tune I remembered from childhood. I wanted to tell her how grateful I was, how much her care meant to me. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel completely alone. Next morning, Claire opened the door before I could even knock. "Elena, come in." "Sit down," she said softly. "You need to rest. I'll handle everything for a few days. Don't worry about bills, rent, or the bank. I've taken care of it." I nodded, too tired to protest. Her voice was calm, warm, and completely convincing. "I'm going on a short vacation," she added with a smile. "You just stay here. Recover. I'll check in every day." When she left, I sat quietly for a while, sipping my tea. I decided to check my bank account, something simple, routine, to make sure nothing needed attention. Then I froze. Every account was empty. My checking, my savings, even the apartment I thought was mine, gone. All of it. Every number, every asset I had worked for my whole life had vanished. And next to each record, the name Claire Adams appeared as the authorized holder. I tried calling her immediately. No answer. I tried her phone. Blocked. A hot wave of rage surged through me. My chest ached. I had trusted her completely. Everything I owned, everything my parents left me, everything I had saved to survive the world I'd been forced to live in, she had taken it all. I sank onto the floor, gripping my hair, trying to make sense of it. But then, a thought broke through the chaos. I wasn't helpless. I had always been smart. Numbers, details, patterns, that was my strength. I could find her, find what she had done, and make her pay. By the next morning, I had taken out a small loan, enough to hire an investigator. I couldn't face her alone yet, not with her hiding behind lies, forged papers claiming I was mentally unfit to manage my own wealth. But I could let someone else follow the trail, someone trained to uncover secrets that people thought were buried. The investigator called later that week. His report chilled me. Claire had drained my accounts to pay off massive gambling debts and creditors. Every move she made had been carefully calculated. But the deeper twist, the thing I hadn't expected, was that she had left traces tiny, overlooked patterns, like footprints in snow. The investigator called later that week. His report chilled me. Claire had drained my accounts to pay off massive gambling debts and creditors. Every move she made had been carefully calculated. But the deeper twist, the thing I hadn't expected, was that she had left traces tiny, overlooked patterns, like footprints in snow. A plan started forming, line by line, in my mind. If she thought she could get away with this, she had no idea who she was dealing with. I didn't need to confront her immediately. I could watch, I could gather, and I could strike where it hurt her most, where she was weakest. I leaned back in my chair and whispered to myself, a spark lighting in my chest. You took everything from me, Claire. But I'm not finished. Not even close. A quiet fire began to burn cold, steady, precise. Revenge was no longer just a thought. It was a plan. And soon, it would become real. I sat at my kitchen table and opened the investigator's folder. Names, dates, bank transfers, and shadow companies sprawled across the pages like a map of betrayal. Every detail Claire had missed, every wire she thought invisible, was here, and I intended to follow every trail. I started with the accounts. A proxy LLC, opened quietly in another state, became the temporary resting place for the first few reclaimed dollars. Another escrow account, under my child's name, would receive the rest. Nothing illegal, nothing traceable to me, just clever engineering. I watched the numbers shift in my favor, my heart steady while Claire's debts silently closed in. Then I acted. A single anonymous tip reached one of Claire's biggest creditors, a shadowy lender she had promised to pay months ago. I left out my name, included only facts, forged POA documents, unusual transfers, and links to her shell companies. I didn't threaten, I didn't yell, I just let them see the truth she had tried to hide. The reaction was immediate. Accounts frozen, calls placed, collectors scrambling. Claire was unprepared. She didn't know how carefully I had mapped her steps. When she tried to reroute funds, I was already waiting, my proxies absorbing each desperate transfer, like a spider catching flies in a net. Every time she thought she had escaped, I had planned 2 moves ahead. I filed quiet fraud disputes with the banks, using notarized investigator reports. Slowly, transfers began reversing, trickling back into the accounts I controlled. She had taken everything from me, but now every dollar she touched was under my watchful eye. I even let the wolves think she had betrayed them. By flagging a payment processor she depended on, I triggered warnings. Automated emails, red flags, alerts, all seemingly accidental. Creditors assumed Claire was hiding money, double-crossing them. I smiled quietly as the truth worked itself out. She was trapped by her own greed. By the second night, I had regained enough to secure my apartment through a proxy. Claire's network began to crumble. Emails from creditors arrived with increasing urgency. She had no idea who had set this in motion. She thought the world was punishing her. In a way she was, but it was her own mistakes, her own lies, feeding the trap. I watched silently from my apartment, shadows crossing my face, as a creditor called Claire on her cell. Her voice, usually so confident and warm with me, cracked in panic. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just watched. Everything she had stolen was slipping back into place. My money, my apartment, my dignity returning piece by piece. And she had no idea who was behind it. She had trusted me. She had thought I was broken, weak, and dependent. Now she was running from invisible wolves she thought she controlled, and I was the quiet hand guiding them. Claire had underestimated me, and that was her fatal mistake. I leaned back, fingers tapping lightly on the table. The next step would come soon. She would beg, she would plead, and she would finally see that the person she thought she could destroy was the one holding all the cards, and I would let her fall. Days passed in quiet preparation. I didn't rush the moment I wanted her to feel safe, untouchable, certain that she had gotten away with it. That's the beauty of silence. It makes people careless. By the time the final pieces were in place, all I had to do was wait and watch. I watched from the small cafe across the street, my coffee untouched, as Claire hurried into her office. The streets were busy, but in that moment, her panic felt louder than the city. She didn't notice the envelope lying in the hallway lobby marked simply with her name, but inside, every document she had forged, every transfer she had made, every debt she owed neatly compiled. Anonymous and ready to expose her. The first knock came at her office door. A firm voice called her name. "Miss Claire, we're here regarding your accounts." Her eyes widened, panic spreading across her face like wildfire. She tried to laugh it off. "It's just a misunderstanding. I can fix this." But it wasn't a misunderstanding. One by one, her trusted creditors entered, papers in hand, their expressions hard, unforgiving. They had been tipped off. They had seen the evidence I sent, proof of double dealing, forged documents, and unpaid debts. "What is this?" Claire stammered, trying to shield herself behind a stack of folders. I can explain." But nobody wanted an explanation. The whispers spread through the room, low and growing, until colleagues and junior staff peeked in from the hall. Every person she had thought loyal was now a witness to her collapse. Her empire, built on lies and manipulation, was unraveling in real time. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just observed, letting her panic build. Every flinch, every desperate gesture, every whispered apology she made, it was fuel to the fire. Then came the final, cold strike. The police arrived, suits pressed, badges glinting. "Claire Henderson, you are under investigation for fraud, forgery, and money laundering. Please come with us." Her knees nearly buckled. She turned to her colleagues, pleading silently, but no one reached out. The creditors had already assumed she had betrayed them, and now law enforcement confirmed her worst fears. She had nowhere to hide. I stayed back, a quiet figure in the cafe window, as she was escorted out in handcuffs. Her face was pale, trembling, broken, the confident, manipulative woman I had known completely destroyed by the very web she had spun. Inside, her office emptied quickly. Banks froze remaining assets. Media crews had begun calling for statements. Everyone she had counted on had turned against her, all because I had played my hand with patience, intelligence, and precision. I finally stood, leaving the warm cafe behind and stepping into the crisp evening air. The rain had returned, washing the city streets clean. Behind me, Claire's world lay in ruins. Not because I had shouted or struck, but because I had been smarter, calmer, and more precise than she ever imagined. I walked home slowly, each step a quiet victory. My apartment was safe, my wealth restored, my dignity intact. Justice had been done, calculated, complete, and without a single show of anger. The wolves had consumed their own, and Claire had no one left to blame but herself. For the first time in years, I felt the weight lift. Freedom, peace, and satisfaction flowed through me. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The storm had passed, and I had emerged whole. And in the quiet of the city, under the cold glow of the streetlights, I smiled.